This is the moment they've all been waiting for. This is the sound of Alternate.
What one nice when that's
Going mad.
Everybody, a very warm welcome back to our channel. I'm Mrs. Moonstomper.
And I'm Mr. Moonstomper. Guys, it's great to have you on board once again. Thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for your amazing support.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So Mrs. Moonstomper, what is today's show all about?
It's about Prodigy and the rave scene.
The rave scene.
Yeah.
So before we sort of delve into the Prodigy,
Yeah.
which is an absolutely amazing band because they've spanned quite a few genres actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on the word rave.
Okay.
So because a lot of people have got or are under the impression that that's a late 80s, early 90s word, and it's not. It actually stems back from sort of like beatnik times in the 50s. And I think there was jazz musicians such as Mick Mulligan, who was known as the king of ravers.
Rave, wow.
And then Buddy Holly do a song called Rave on or something in
Yes.
'58. So you can
I remember
see
that song.
how far it goes back. But rave culture from, I would say, the early 60s
Okay.
was actually in the mod scene. So those all-night parties and those parties were actually known as raves.
Raves, wow.
So it's
Do you add them in anything?
well, there you go. It's a bit older than you think, but a totally
To our surprise.
totally different music.
Yes.
So what do you know about rave, Mrs. Moonstomper?
Well, rave is you know about the up to date?
Yeah, the up to date stuff, because that's what
yes.
this is about, really, isn't it?
It's like what you said about the 50s and the 60s, all night parties and.
So, but the up to date stuff, though, not about that, but the up to date
I
stuff,
know.
like the 80s.
It's the same as like back in the 50s, like the all night, like from early evening till like next day, sort of way into the next day maybe,
but it's
or even more.
But in my experience, it was always illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
Right, so I had a small disclosure. I had quite a bit to do with rave.
Okay.
In terms of the sort of security aspect of it.
Yes.
For one reason or another, and I kind of got sort of, I wouldn't say dragged into it, except I was dragged into it. Sort of warehouses, fields,
That's the farmers' fields, yes.
all sorts of weird and wonderful places.
Where people shouldn't really be.
But that's where the money was at.
Yes.
And I can assure you, all we sold was water.
Bottles and bottles,
in
yes.
copious quantities.
Gosh.
But well, there was other things sold there, that's for sure. But it wasn't beer, that's for sure.
Tablets.
Yeah, there you go.
Sweeties.
There you go.
Yes.
And lucky enough to see bands such as 808 State and Prodigy and people like that. Obviously.
Okay.
So yeah. So what else do you know about Rave then?
Rave, it all began in the, it became popular became popular in Britain around 1987.
It did indeed.
Yes,
So,
yes.
was it called Smiley Culture? There was a band called Smiley Culture, wasn't it? The Smiley Culture was the, you know.
Smiley Culture was that Jamaican that toast artist.
It was indeed. But
Yeah, but the smiley face.
But
yes.
Smiley Culture was because it was a smiley culture.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it was the face of the little round pill, wasn't it?
That's it.
And they called them Smileys.
Okay, then you get that symbol as well.
Well, it was little. Well, actually,
Yellow.
it wasn't a pill actually. So it was a piece of paper.
Yes.
Like
Laced with something.
It was acid.
Yes.
That's what it was. It was ecstasy, acid.
Yeah,
So
ecstasy.
what do you know about that then, Mrs. Moonstomper?
Oh, it was called MDMA.
MDMA.
Yes, yes.
It was indeed.
But to write this down, I'll read it because it's a very long MDMA.
I can't even pronounce it. So you can have a go if you want.
It's methylene dioxide, methamphetamine, amphetamine.
There you go. So
Yes, yes.
basically methamphetamine.
Yes, yes.
You know, but in a liquid form.
Okay.
Not as strong as, say, for example, crystal meth, which is also like a methamphetamine type thing.
Yeah, also used to treat anxiety as well.
There you go. Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. So what do you know about the groups of the day then?
Oh, the groups. Prodigy to start with. I think Prodigy was like up there.
Well, they weren't actually, so they didn't start till 1990.
Okay.
So they were quite, I would say they were quite late to the party in terms of getting there.
Oh, I
but
see.
they were certainly the biggest act
Yes,
at
yeah,
one
most
point in
popular.
time. And they inspired other people as well.
Oh yes.
So who else do you know from?
Shaman.
Now, the Shaman,
Shaman.
they, in fact, they're Easer Good. Ebenezer Good, sorry. That was really controversial
Yes, oh yes.
at the time, and that was, well, yeah, that led to not that song, but that was the build up to bad things
Okay.
that were to come.
Yes.
If that makes sense. And those bad things did come.
Yes,
And
including deaths as well. A few
Well,
deaths.
they did, and there was it wasn't a high profile death, but
Right.
it was highly profiled in the media.
Okay,
That
yes.
absolutely killed that scene. Dead. Pardon the horrible pun.
Yes.
So in terms of other bands, who else do you know?
Alternate.
Alternate. They were lots sort of right up there.
Yes.
Groups like Praga Khan,
Okay.
and then Moby as well.
Oh yeah, Moby.
So Moby was actually stateside, so he's an American musician. So if you don't know
Yes,
who
yes.
Moby is, go and check out his work because he actually had a dabble in the rave scene in the
Yes.
early 90s. And he's an amazing musician.
He sure is. Yes.
Really unassuming kind of guy. But in terms of musicianship, he's amazing.
Yes.
But it was the Prodigy who inspired him to
Oh, right.
sort of pick his synth up and turn his hand to that, believe it or not. So there
Wow.
you go. And then who else do you know?
Orbital.
Orbital. There you go.
808 State.
808 State. So 808 State, named after the Roland 808.
Oh right. Okay.
Which is the
The
actual.
sound.
Yeah, it's the drum machine that was of the day.
Yes.
So, and a lot of these things were, it was synthesized music.
Yes, it was.
So, and it wasn't the first wave of synthesized music. This was
Oh,
the
no.
first wave of what I would say really heavily sampled music.
Yes.
But still analog. But you've got FM synthesizers such as the Yamaha DX7 was fairly old hat by then. You had Korg's M1,
Yes.
which was an absolute powerhouse, and the Roland D50.
Yes.
And I think it was a Roland, was it the W30 or something like that,
Oh,
that featured very heavily with the Prodigy.
yes.
And with those, you can actually sample on those as well. So you had those with different samplers as well.
Yes, he did.
And sampling became a big thing as
He
well.
did. Really took off.
It did indeed. So you had I would say in the early 90s as well, you had what they called, it was it Kiddie Rave, cartoon rave,
Oh yeah.
where people sampled So it was the sampling of
Cartoons.
children's
TV shows.
shows,
Yes.
and putting that to a, say for example, an amen break, rock, which is probably the most used drum beat in the
That's
world.
it.
Such as, what was it, Trompton, was it?
Trompton, yes, and Rainbow as well.
Rainbow, and there was Charlie Said.
Charlie, yes.
Charlie Says by the Prodigy.
Prodigy, yes.
Now the Prodigy, when they did that, they didn't want to be known as Kiddie Rave.
Okay.
And straight after that they packed it in.
Alright.
But we'll come back to the Prodigy, because I think really, this should all be about the Prodigy, but we just wanted to set the scene on
Oh
Rave.
yes, of course.
But, so, the Prodigy actually formed in, it was actually 34 years ago.
1990, yes.
It was October the 5th, 1990.
Oh, so bang
there
on,
you
well,
go,
just
yeah.
a bit over 34 years.
They did indeed.
Yes.
There's only 2 original members left, isn't there?
Yeah.
So there's
Liam Howlett.
Liam Howlett and
Is it Maxim?
Maxim,
Maxim,
yeah.
yes.
So, and then Keith Flint and I think the other person.
Oh, that
there
dancer.
there was a lady as well.
Okay.
There was a lady, and I'll think of the names in a moment. They joined after Liam Howlett gave them a tape. So Liam Howlett went to, I think he went to play somewhere. They saw him.
Yes.
They gave him a. Liam Howlett gave him a tape to listen
Okay.
to,
Yes.
and scratched on the back of that tape was Prodigy.
Alright.
Now, Prodigy was actually from the name of an instrument, so it was called Prodigy,
Alright.
and that's who he's using for his sampling.
Oh yes.
And they just basically agreed to join the band. Keith Flint had got some. He came back at Liam Howlett with some songs,
Yes.
and that's how the Prodigy formed.
Okay, yes. Well, Liam Howlett is the main writer and producer, also.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yes, he's the
absolutely.
brains behind it.
So, but before he actually started that group, he was in a hip hop. He was a hip hop DJ.
Okay, yes.
Believe it or not,
Alright.
but he left that scene because he found that scene to be rather, as he put it, it was quite violent.
Oh,
There was scenes of violence. It wasn't, it wasn't.
It wasn't how it used to be back
No,
in the early days.
it wasn't. No, not at all. And he wanted something that was a bit more peaceful. So with people taking copious quantities of ecstasy,
Yes.
now that's known as the love drug.
Okay.
Because everyone gets loved up on that. It's
Yes.
just everyone loves everyone, and it's like kind of crazy. It's a crazy thing to take. It really is.
Yes.
I did it once, so I'll never do it again.
Oh, I wouldn't.
No,
I never.
because literally I was like that for, I think I was like that for 12, 13, 14 hours. Literally, it lasted that long.
That's so long.
Yeah,
That's half of your day gone.
It is definitely. But so
Yes.
going into, we'll come back to the Prodigy, I think. We're going into Rave itself.
Yes.
That's where we said that sort of death that was highly profiled. That was a young lady called, was it Leah Betts?
Leah Betts, yes.
Now,
She was only 18 years old.
She was, and she was the daughter of a police officer.
Yes, she was, yes.
And so it was at 92, 93,
I
was
think it was 94, I think it was.
It was there or thereabouts.
94, yes.
But that led to, in fact, the laws had already started to kick in, and the laws were, it was that illegal rave act.
Yes.
And it was just to get rid of all those illegal raves because, number one, it was the drugs,
yes.
it was the gatherings, and you know what, number three, and probably backhandedly,
Oh.
it was the fact that the governments aren't making a penny
All
through
right.
on tax revenue.
Oh, God.
If you're selling alcohol, they'll make money all day long.
Yes.
If you're selling cigarettes, they'll make money all day long. But because drugs aren't licensed in that respect, the illegal drugs, they're not making a bean. So that's when they clamp down because they can't license it, they can't legalise it, and they make nothing. That was the way, in my opinion. But going back to Leah Betts, when she died, her dad took a very, what I think is a really, really brave step, and he photographed her.
Yes, I remember the pictures in the papers.
And it was at that point in time, I'm going to say it was really shocking.
It was.
It was just wow.
It's shocking to people like you and me, but to those who want to rave and carry on raving, It's like they dismissed it and they didn't care and just carried on regardless.
I don't know, because it did stop a few people.
Okay.
But that, but there was chains of events, so there was, especially in Essex, because she was from Essex, don't forget, if I remember rightly.
I think so.
And I think she got that from the club that was to do with the Essex boys, if I remember rightly, but I could be wrong there. We'll put it on the screen.
Yes.
But that, the Range Rover murders were
Oh yes.
after that, at that point in time. But that's a separate thing altogether. That'd make a whole video, but how many people have done videos on that? And that's not really our bag of here at Moonstompers, is it?
No,
We're all
no,
about the music, the violence and the politics. Screw that, forget it. So going back to the Prodigy,
Okay. Yes.
right? They haven't done many LPs.
About 6 or 7.
7 LPs.
7.
Since 1990, they've had EPs and lots sort of live releases, then re-releases,
Yes.
but 7 studio LPs.
Gosh, you think they've just about done a bit more
Well, yay and nay.
for the time they've been around.
So Experience was their first LP, and that was a pure Rave LP, and I think that was, I believe it was 1992. if I
Okay,
remember
I think
rightly.
it was.
And it was on XL recordings.
Yes.
And before that they'd done an EP. I can't remember the name of the EP. So their first sort of foray was What Evil Lurks,
Okay, yes.
which was an EP. Now that wasn't commercially successful.
Alright.
It had moderate sort of success. Now bear in mind these are club bands, club groups, so these are different.
Yes.
They're never going to be mainstream. It's never going to be the next sort of Michael Jackson or Queen. It's not.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't appeal to mainstream masses. It doesn't.
No.
But that What Evil Lurks, they did that, and I can't remember if they did that on XL. They quite probably, or whether XL re-released it. Either which way, they couldn't. At one point, they couldn't get a record label.
Oh no.
And it was only XL who agreed to do that, but Experience was kind of like their big break,
Yes.
where they had 2 big singles off the back of that, which the first one was Charlie.
Oh yes.
Charlie Says. Now that was the one we said was like Kiddie Rave.
Oh yeah, Kiddie Rave.
Yeah.
Charlie's that it's from the advert from the 1970s about stranger danger.
Yes, it's a public safety. Basically, they were public safety adverts they showed in the United Kingdom
Yes.
to younger people
That's
in the
it.
70s, and it basically was a cat who talked complete bollocks. Yeah.
The little boy with his cat.
Yeah, and the cat always told about the danger.
That's it. How we understood him.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
never know.
Yeah, for some reason, perhaps he was taking ecstasy as well. I don't know. I'm just sort of surmising there.
My God.
But yeah, Experience was there. So that was Charlie, and then it was Out of Space as well,
yes.
which was I would say is a true rave song.
Yes.
Each-
Which of the drum beat, the really catchy drum beat.
The drum beat and the
And the big when he's singing the chorus, Condescending from Outer Space.
but that's not his song.
I know, it's a reggae
Yeah.
sample,
So
so reggae sample.
exactly, and the Prodigy specialised in samples. So I don't know how many samples are in that.
Okay.
There's quite a few.
I bet there is, I reckon
There is
there might be.
there's quite a few. When you fast forward to some of their later things, there's as many as lots of 10 or 12 samples per
I
song, literally, and they're pitched up, pitched down. We'll come to that in a bit. So we did there.
Yes.
Change my pitch up. Right, okay, we'll come to that because that's really controversial.
Yes, it was.
But they specialised in that. So when Charlie Says, when they got to, I think they got to number 5 in the UK charts. We'll put it on the screen because I can't remember. I remember it happening,
Yes, me too.
but I haven't actually looked back at it, to be honest with you.
No.
Normally I'd have a quick flick through sort of like Wikipedia or like the Prodigy's homepage or like fan pages, and I can't quite remember. But Liam Howlett
Yes.
did the smartest thing ever. He went and upgraded the band's gear
Okay, wow.
with the proceeds of that,
Yes.
rather than sort of blow to the wall.
And that's very wise, that is very savvy.
I thought it was an amazing move, that. because with the more up-to-date stuff,
Yes.
they could get more up-to-date music.
That's it, of course. And why not?
They could. So they, after that, they had a bit of a, was it a sabbatical? Yes, it was. Because, you know, writing that stuff doesn't come easy.
No, it
It
doesn't.
really doesn't. You know, I've
It
written,
takes time, doesn't it?
God, yeah, I've written enough of that stuff.
Yes.
But because Rave had sort of ended, it's where'd you go from there?
That's it.
Where'd you go? But the next one, which was that music for the Jilted Generation,
Yes.
that was that was a kickback at the authorities
Alright.
with the, what was it, Fuck 'em and their law and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's in the
Yeah.
lyrics in the song.
Yeah. Their law, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
And that was a kickback at the authorities, number one, for trying to, basically, we're trying to wipe that genre off and that.
Oh yes.
Now, I don't know about you guys at home, but the way I feel about that, now, you know, I don't think any music genre should be wiped off the map at
No.
all. You know, music is music is music. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
That's it.
You know,
It's
it's-
simples.
Yeah, exactly.
Simples.
Exactly. But some people like that. I quite happen to enjoy that.
Yes,
It was
yes.
a bit different. It was fresh. It was catchy.
Yes.
And if you're in that mood to listen to that, that's pretty good.
Mm.
I heard it. I heard that stuff firsthand.
Yes.
At like a rate of knots like you wouldn't believe. It was loud. It was the laser light shows, and it was very. So now you can see why I like Motorhead for that reason. It's in.
Fast and loud.
It's again.
Rowdy.
It's fast, loud. It's sweaty. It's energetic. It's
Oh gosh, the energy is
yeah, exactly.
right up there again. Right
So
up
and
there.
on stage it'd have like weird things like fire eaters and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's kind of like a hark back to psychedelia,
Oh yes.
but it's psychedelia at 110 miles an hour, which is why wouldn't you?
I know.
Why
Gotta
wouldn't you?
be there, man.
So Mrs. Moonstomper. So
Yes.
the Prodigy,
Yes.
although they were popular, didn't get their big break until 1997.
Okay.
And a lot of people think, oh yeah, they were dead famous, but they weren't.
No.
So it was 1997 when there was a particular LP that came out
Yes.
that changed. It changed, as far as I'm concerned, it changed music probably forever,
Oh yes.
especially club music, but they changed as well.
Yes.
So it became heavy, it became almost punk orientated,
Oh yes.
loud, brash, in your face, and highly controversial as well.
Oh yes.
So I would say Fat of the Land is the
Yes.
LP. Now on there you've got
Firestarter.
Firestarter.
That's when Catherine changed his appearance.
He did indeed. So
Yeah.
he all of a sudden got a. It wasn't a mohican, it was spiked at the side, wasn't it?
Like a punk clown type
Yeah,
look.
and then nose piercings, ear piercings,
Yes.
tattoos, and he changed his appearance
You look
completely.
yes, he looks so
But
different.
he also wrote vocals as well. Now, traditionally he was a dancer,
Yes.
but he wrote vocals and he sang vocals
Oh,
as well.
yes.
And it was the first time he ever fronted the band properly.
Alright.
That makes sense. So he moved into being a front man.
Yes.
And I would say, you know, it's Liam's music, always Liam's music,
Yes.
but he changed the appearance of the Prodigy.
He sure did.
And how many people ended up shaving their head and trying to look like.
Wanting to look like Firestarter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But that song was really, really controversial.
It was.
But it got to number one in the UK.
Yes.
And I think it was a top 30 hit on the US Billboard. I can't remember where it got to in the US Billboard, but it got quite high. And it was a platinum single.
Wowzers.
And it was completely different, but it
Yes.
upset people as well.
Okay.
So it upset the BBC, as if you couldn't guess, because I just thought he was a Firestarter, literally, like he was into arson. But it wasn't about that, it was a literal thing.
Yes.
He just thought, you know, wherever he goes, if he goes to a conversation, he'll start
An argument or something.
yeah. So
dear.
it's you know, it was about that, but everybody took it literally.
Yes.
It got banned. In fact, Smack My Big Shop was removed from the shelves at Walmart because of because a lot of Smack My Big Shop
and content.
Yeah.
Yes.
But really good LP. The LP went platinum as well. I think it got a #1 hit for the LP in the UK and stateside.
Wow, yes.
So I say let's go have a break for a couple of moments.
Yeah.
We'll put this VT on. When we come back, we're going to tell you about the rest of that LP and why that LP is absolutely stomping amazing. So back in a moment.
We live like Loughton, Buckers Hill, and I mean SL2 live in the same area, and there's Prodigy that lives sort of down the road, and then there's Suburban Bass where most of their artists' home is in this area. I think in a way Essex dominates the hardcore scene. I don't think there's many groups. I mean there's a lot of other groups obviously, but Essex is where it's at.
And the reason we called the label Suburban Bass is because we thought it was cool that we're based outside of London, but managing to take on the majors at their own game and beating them in most cases. It's more than just a suburban-based thing now. Suburban Bass is a family. We call ourselves the Boogie Times Tribe after the shop. That's how it works so well, because the general public can see that it is a tribe, you know, it's like a crew of people, and we all really believe in what we're doing. We're a group of friends that work really hard together to break our own material. We don't just license from any old place, we break our own material and work on our own product in our own studio.
The recessions are in the world just getting depressing. If you can make music and make money, that's what everyone wants to do.
We have respect for our age group because we're not looking at the businessman sitting behind the chair raking all the money from Charlie or everybody in the place. We're looking at the kids who are going out raving, you know, giving them what they want, you know. That's why we've got so much respect for like people that age.
I'd like to check out Nelson's column. Don't know about you guys.
When they see all of us, they just see 4 people that 10 minutes ago, before they got on stage, were in the crowd, sort of dancing around and having a laugh. And I think people like to see something that is very close to home, you know, something they can relate to.
What is your problem? Hold on! Hold on! It's not hard.
To me, it's entirely impossible to play totally live because I literally need so much equipment on stage and probably about 5 people operating all the equipment. But we try and play as live as we can when we're on stage, and the idea when we're on stage is just to get the buzz across to the crowd.
Here we go again, here we go again.
These are my babies. When we're playing the set, I'm just sort of like running in between each of the keyboards and playing different sections of each of the songs. Like, for instance, on this song, I might sort of like play a section of Your Love.
It's about your love. Uncle in the house.
When I'm on stage and yeah, you've got 15,000 people standing there, and I'm thinking, right, I wrote this song in my bedroom, and now there's 15,000 people jumping about to the song, and I'm just getting such a buzz out of that song because I wrote it in my bedroom, and it's sort of like, I wrote this song for you people, and you people are dancing to it.
We want that sweet, sweet love. We want that hardcore love. Come on, Andy people.
Hey, sure hope you enjoyed that very much so. Welcome back.
Hope you did indeed, guys. So we were talking about the Prodigy. I think it's the best album. Well, I don't know because I do like Experience. There's just something about that. But the Fat of the Land is absolutely brilliant, and it's different for many reasons.
Yes.
So after Fire started, there was Breathe.
Oh yes.
Wasn't there? Where I think Maxim had a
big part of it, of the vocals.
Yeah, he took a massive part of the vocals as well. Him and Keith Flint both took lead vocals, and that was a grimy, dirty video.
That's really heavy and bassy.
It was indeed, yeah, it was. So they've turned the bass up to 11, and they've distorted everything, and then all of a sudden you've got that. It's almost like cyberpunk or some sort of industrial. It's industrial, really industrial sounding.
Especially the video as well to go with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was like the forerunner to like dubstep, in my opinion, where it just, and I think they pioneered lots. But the song I really want to talk about is Smack My Bitch Up.
Oh yes.
Now, wow, what can you say about that song?
Yeah, and the video as well.
It was controversial.
That one, the song and the video.
It's
banned. They tried to ban it.
The song. So just look at the song first, because look at it as two separate things.
Okay.
Now the song is that was seen by how many different groups. It was seen as being misogynistic. It was seen as being pro-drugs. It was seen as being everything that is wrong with society.
Yes.
But what I say is this: if a song is going to piss adults off, then like Lemmy says, and like everybody else says, and in my mind, you've done something right. But you have.
Yeah.
But the Sex Pistols did it. Well, Malcolm McLaren actually did it, and the Sex Pistols just did it. But do you see what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's got that. It's just got that attitude. The attitude of like, up yours. We're going to do exactly what we want, and that's exactly what they did do. In fact, at one point, I believe they were at, I'm going to say it was something like Glastonbury or Reading, and they were, I think it was Reading actually, and I believe the Beastie Boys were. I think the Beastie Boys were really on stage after. The Beastie Boys of all people turned around and says, "We'd much rather you didn't play Smack My Bitch Up." And the Prodigy going, "What do you mean?"
Say what?
Yeah, say what? So when they got on stage, what did the Prodigy play? They went, "There you go, Smack My Bitch Up," and it was a great big up yours to everybody. And do you know what? I kind of like that.
I think the Beastie Boys should have joined them. They made a bit of a hoo-ha.
The Beastie Boys.
Get on stage and join them, man.
It's not as if they didn't do anything controversial.
I know, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? They fine want to talk, but they'd been bitten by whatever it was. And I'm not, incidentally, not condoning any sort of misogyny.
No,
any sort of drugs. I'm not condoning anything like that at all. What I liked about that song, it was amazing because of the samples.
Proper difference.
So, Change My Pitch Up.
Yes.
Smack My Bitch Up is from the Ultramagnetic MCs Give the Drum a Song.
Oh yes.
And literally, what he's done with that sample, the way he's time stretched it.
Yes.
and he's pitched it up. Right, changed my pitch up, and that's exactly what he did do. Yeah. And I just thought that was such a clever. That's a little nuance. That's so clever.
Yes.
And that's how you can see Liam Howell. It was just an absolute genius. But there was also, did you know, Rage Against the Machine, Balls on Parade. That's in Smack My Bitch Up as well.
Alright.
Amongst many others. So I changed my pitch up. That was Give the Drummer Some, if I remember rightly. And there's, in fact, we'll put a list of the samples on the screen. Have a listen to that song and see if you can spot the samples. And if at some point I remember, what I'll do is I'll do a video where we download those samples into some music software, and I'll show you exactly how those samples are made and why it's actually made. It's painstaking to make those samples.
Gosh, yes.
And in those days, it wasn't done in the computer. Incidentally, those were taken off tape and they were spliced, or they were recorded, and then what he did was literally he'd re-record them and just get a little slice, and then he'd play with it, and it was analog.
Flipping genius.
And to get that, and there's, the samples are absolutely amazing. But it's that song is probably the most one of the most controversial songs.
I should say.
They couldn't even play it on TV, could they? And radio stopped playing. In fact, radios wouldn't play it until after the Watershed.
Oh yes.
So the video, you were going to mention the video.
Oh yes. It's like a day in the life of somebody.
It's like evening out.
That's it. It's a mysterious person. Going out to a club, getting drunk, making a nuisance of themselves. It's like POV.
It's POV, first person. It's actually first person. It's like first person view. FPV. Yes. So it's that, but there's a twist.
Yeah.
There's an absolute brilliant twist to that. Now, if you've seen it, you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. In fact, I'm not going to spoil the twist.
No.
Get down in the comments and tell me what you think the twist that video is, and tell me how you think once you've seen that it's misogynistic, and that's what I'm going to say on that. Because that, to me, that video, when I first watched that, in fact, it took me a couple of goes to realise, and I realised, and I thought,
not what it is.
That's not what I thought it was. It's not what, and it's brilliant.
It is
absolutely brilliant.
It's clever the way they formed it.
It is definitely.
I think
it is. So once they'd done that, they pretty much went on tour, and I wouldn't say the music dried, except it probably did. Looking at their next LP, it was some 7 or 8 years later, so the fact of the land was 1997, and pretty much the next LP was 2004, 2005, and it was always outnumbered, never outgunned, and their other LPs has got critically acclaimed. Now somehow that got to #1 in the UK LP charts. But I would say, compared to their other ventures, it was, dare I say, it was a bit of a flop. Still good, but a bit of a flop. But it kind of, the Prodigy lost their way a bit.
Yes, they did a bit.
So in the late 90s, like when I think they came off touring about, so literally they're on tour till about 99, something like 99, 2000, and I think between 1999 and 2001, 2002, their website just remained black, and it just says, we'll be back soon.
Yes.
Seven or 8 years later. But they came out with that, and to be honest with you,
it just wasn't the same feel, was it?
It wasn't. To me, it sounded a bit dated.
Alright.
It sounded a bit, I don't know. I mean, there's an amazing track on there, Spitfire. I like Spitfire, and that's a nod to the band, especially Keith Flint's. That's a nod to his sort of his love of engines
Oh yes.
and fast things.
He's involved with the TT. Is it the TT races?
I was going to come to that.
Oh,
in a
sorry,
bit.
oh.
Yeah, but you know, since you mentioned that, but British Superbike as well.
Oh yes.
But there was a thing. So he had his own motorcycle racing team.
Oh yes.
Which was Team Traction Control, named after the software.
Oh, I see.
Traction. Yeah, so which is behind as well.
Yes.
So there you go.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then the next LP was, which was Invaders Must Die, where they reinvented themselves again.
Yes. That's a good track. That is.
It's absolutely
Really heavy
brilliant.
as well. Really
Well,
sort of continuous.
Well, because they got that logo then of the ants,
The ants,
like the
yes.
ants, that ant logo, and that kind of stuck with them.
Yeah.
And it was a complete reinvention. Like you say, really heavy to the point where they're putting more guitars into the mix.
Oh yes.
Rather than just synthesizers.
Okay.
And it just became a juggernaut at that point in time. Another really great LP.
Yes. And was there other songs like the Omen? It's an Omen.
There was indeed.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Omen and going back to what we was talking about before about the reggae samples. There was like there's Outer Space and Wind It Up to the reggae sample as well.
Yeah, those did. Yeah,
Yeah.
most of them did. In fact, everything had some sort of a sample.
Yeah, but mostly you could hear the reggae sample on Wind It Up and.
Oh, you could, yeah.
Yes.
And they kept that in as well. But sort of going all the way back to Experience, Rough in the Jungle.
Oh gosh, yes.
Now, Rough in the Jungle,
Oh my gosh.
right, that was, in my opinion, but my opinion only, that was, for me, that was the commencement of jungle music.
Yes.
Which got like a faster beat, but you could hear it.
Oh yes. You could feel it as well as well as here.
You could indeed, and then I think that was because that was 1992.
Yes.
Sort of a year, 2 years later, jungle music became massive.
Oh yes. Jungle is massive.
See what I did there?
Oh my god.
Yeah. There you go.
Should we jump into the bin, shall we?
You can jump into the bin because you made that joke, not me.
So you've both said it together,
Yeah,
so
we
how can
did
it just be me?
We did indeed. So fast forward a bit.
Go on.
So fast forward up to, I think it was 2015, The Day Is My Enemy.
Okay.
If I remember, was it 2015 or 2018? 2015 was The Day Is My Enemy.
Oh yes, yes.
If I remember rightly. And that's, again, another number one LP. So every LP that the Prodigy have produced has got straight to number one
Wow, gosh.
in the UK.
Something else.
That out of 7, that's pretty special, and it's the only dance act
Awesome, yeah.
to have ever done that. They've been the biggest dance act in the world just through that.
Yes.
But you can see the Days My Enemy, that was more industrial. You could hear it very industrial, very cyberpunk again, but you could hear it going more and more industrial, more guitars, more overdriven, heavier, and their shows were, at that point in time, their shows were just like to die for. They were absolutely spectacular.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's another band I wish I'd seen when I was around. I wasn't really into them then, but now they've gone done and dusted. I'm thinking,
Isn't that the way? Isn't that the
it's
way?
like Motorhead as well.
Yeah,
Wish I'd
so
have seen them
as
all the time.
as a big arena band, because they became arena fillers,
Oh yes.
they are touring, so they're coming on tour now. I tried to get tickets the other day, if you remember,
Yes.
but they're doing smaller places now, smaller venues, so like 5,000 seats, that sort of thing,
Gosh, how times have changed.
which is a bit of a shame,
It
actually.
is.
But, you know, even in that sort of closed up environment, even that people in, it's still a really good show.
Okay, yes.
Needless to say, I did get tickets But if we got the tickets, you'd know about that because but I didn't get the tickets. But hey,
I know.
never mind. Better luck
At least
next
you
time.
tried.
But I've seen them live. I saw them in the early days, but
Yes.
it was a different thing altogether then.
Oh yes, way different.
There you go. And then going up to their latest LP in 2018, which was No Prisoners, I think, or something like that.
I think it was. My memory's
With another #1 smash.
Wow, again.
And then a few months after that, Keith Flint suicided.
I know. Sad. It's a sad loss.
It
just makes you wonder, people, just because you got all this and that, maybe people underneath, it doesn't make them happy. But material things, sometimes it doesn't really matter.
Well, we mentioned that in the 27 Club, didn't we, really? You know, when we was talking about that the other week. Yeah, we mentioned that. But it's, you know, also when you mention motorcycle racing as well.
Yes.
Now, the TT, right, to have a team in the TT, that costs, so the TT is the Tourist Trophy, the Isle of Man, it's that crazy road race. To have a team in there that's professionally built with high-end bikes costs an absolute fortune. But it's not so much the financial cost, it's the commitment as well.
Oh yes.
Because
has to be there.
It's the commitment of the team, of the backer, of the riders, and of all those people. Because there's not a great deal of money in it.
No.
You know, for winning a TT, there's next to nothing in that at all. It's not the millions. It's not a £1 million sport.
No.
But it's about who's got the biggest pair of kahunas. And for Keith Flint's team to actually get a TT. That was, wow, that's his dream come true. And there was also Carl Cox as well, another well-known DJ.
Yes.
He's
involved,
and he's still involved in it as well.
Okay, yes.
So, but what, you know, his passion for the external passion for motorsports. Keith Flint also had he'd put his team into what's called British Superbike. Okay. Which is notoriously difficult.
Yes.
Not really my thing.
No.
But I'd watch that over World Superbike because it's a bit more elbows and fairings. It's a bit more get the person off the bike, if that makes sense. But the TT is where it was at for me.
Yes,
for that, to see that.
I know you love your TT.
Yeah, and for him to, when he first took his team over there, and everybody went, do you know what, that bloke hasn't got a prayer of getting any results whatsoever. And to actually do what he did and get the right rider with the right equipment compliments, that just, you know, that
some feat, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually an amazing feat, and there's plenty of people sitting there with none to the name who would have loved to have just got that.
That's
so
yeah,
kudos to those guys for that.
Definitely.
Absolutely amazing.
I say yes.
Yeah. So
wow.
Mrs. Moonstomper.
Yes, Mr. Moonstomper.
Right. Have you got anything else on this subject?
Can't think of anything else. Can you, Mr. Moonstomper?
Maybe not.
Oh, I see.
It's like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you got anything else at all?
Yes, something I wanted to add. Last time I went on about dopamines and your happy hormones. Because Mr. Moonstomper was creasing ever so much, I didn't get to finish what I wanted to say. Not available at any pharmaceutical outlets, your dopamines and your happy hormones.
So how do you get those things in?
It's comes from within, yes.
You have to generate them?
Yes.
Go on.
Remember.
I've got nothing else to say, guys, fortunately, unfortunately. So, nothing else?
No.
What have we got coming up for viewers next time, Mrs. Moonstomper?
Special. Is it special?
It could be the special. It could be, but we could have other specials as well.
Oh,
because we've got some absolute bangers coming up. And then, don't forget, we're now approaching the season of goodwill.
Oh yes.
So, with Christmas a couple of months around the corner, we are going to have a Christmas special. if we hit the magic number that we think is the magic number on subs, we're going to do that prize giveaway.
Truly amazing, truly
And
amazing.
we've got, I don't know how many prizes we've got lined up now, but we've got quite a few. And that will be pretty good. That'll be an amazing giveaway. But we do have a Christmas special coming up, New Year special, and other specials as well.
So,
And a special, like you said.
Special, yes.
Special.
With Terry and the lads, Terry Lingval, Neville.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, nothing else?
Just big up to all our Moon Stomperoonies
Absolutely.
for keeping it real.
Yep, there you go. So,
Yes.
Till the next time, guys, I've been Mr. Moonstomper. Much love,
Your teeth
peace,
knocking.
and respect, you
Yes.
guys.
What he said. Love ya.
It's an old man.
Injecting with a poison.